You're listening to Heritage Radio Network. HRN is food radio supported by you. Learn more at heritageradionetwork.org. This episode of Pizza Quest is brought to you by Central Milling, hand-selected grain, expertly milled for passionate bakers. Central Milling is the farmer, the miller, and the baker working together to preserve American farmland for tomorrow while providing the highest quality flour and grains for the bakers of today. Dating back over 150 years, Central Milling is built on generations of knowledge, and they know that premium flour starts at the source. Employee-owned, Central Milling works directly with their farmers to sustainably grow grains that have exceptional flavor, nutrient content, color, and baking performance, which results in one of the largest selections of premium specialty flour and grains in the country. Hand-selected for the highest baking qualities, milled, cracked, or blended slowly to minimize heat generation, then bake-tested for performance. Learn more about Central Milling and their products at centralmilling.com. Welcome to Pizza Quest. I'm Peter Reinhardt, and I'm here with one of our very first guests on Pizza Quest, like 15 years ago. We had Tony Gemignani. We filmed at the close to the opening, not long after you opened Tony's Pizza Napolitana. So has it really been like 15 years, Tony, that you've been open? And
yeah, it's been a long time, almost 15 years. Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy, yeah, it is, because the time has gone by so fast, and so much has happened between now and then. Lots of championships that you've won, people that you've coached and trained that have gone on to win world championships, other pizzerias that have opened under sort of your guidance and mentorship. So much that we want to catch up on all of that. I'm going to see if I can stop this phone from ringing. and so let me just ask you this, Tony. Again, for those who have not seen some of the early footage that we did with Tony, and you've been on a couple of times, we've done other interviews with you, and throughout the years, you've been a big supporter of Pizza Quest, and of course, we've always been following your career because essentially you're the guy. You're probably the most recognizable name in the pizza community these days, and I get to see you once or twice a year at these various pizza expos. But can you help, for those folks who haven't been following, catch them up a little bit on what's been going on since? Let's just go back to the opening of Tony's Pizza Napolitana. Prior to that, there's lots of story, but from then till now, what are some of the things that have happened?
32 years in the business, after 17 years being working for my brother, opened up Tony's. Tony's been open a little over 14 years. Was the first concept that I celebrate every style, from grandma to St. Louis to Detroit to Neapolitan to Roman to New York. So multiple ovens, multiple styles, different flours, different sauce recipes, 4 pizza lines. It's just like this mega pizzeria that nobody thought could ever be done or be executed. And we've been able to do that pretty well.
That's what we loved about that place when we went there. So many different ovens. You had like a different oven for every style of pizza that you made. A kind of a whole different space.
And I don't even know if I had the slice house connected to it when it came, where I had a coal oven, a rotating Rotoflex. So we've actually added more styles since you were there back. Wow. Before I opened, I think you were there. You're knocking on the window saying, "Open, open." And I'm like,
yeah, and I'll let you in the back and made your world championship margarita pizza for us.
And then it's progressed a lot to nearly 40 locations now, from Pizza Rock to Slice House to Capos to bakeries to bagel shops, and it's growing and growing. And now I have I ran the International School of Pizza there for nearly 14 years. Certified chefs from around the world. A lot of them, or some of them, work for me, and then they opened up their own restaurants, like Audrey Sherman to Jeff Smokovich to Ann Kim to Laura Meyer, Matt Molina. Yeah. So it's been an interesting hub for pizza makers to come from all over the world and open up shops everywhere. So it wasn't just a pizzeria; it was a school too. And then now if you see what I'm doing lately. Slice House franchise has nearly 40 in development right now. You'll see thousands opening in literally like 2 weeks, give or take. So I'll be in LA a lot. Hotbed for LA right now for me in pizza. San Diego, the Simi Valley, Ventura, all over. I mean, to Sacramento, to the Bay Area. The Slice House franchise that I have, the new prototypes that I have now are pretty crazy. So yeah, there's nearly 40 in development, and I would say in a couple of years you may see 100 in development. So it's looking good.
It's amazing how certain regions become hotspots, for the current moment, and then another region opens up and becomes hot. And
yeah,
I know
you noticed San Francisco. We had everybody come up from the South, LA, and they would say, when are you going to open up a Tony's? I said, I don't know if Tony's is special. I don't know if I'll open up another Tony's unless it's, Bellagio or something crazy, or Japan or something like that. But the Slice House model is smart enough, has multiple styles, less risky. It's much more easier, even though it's still a scratch house. So yeah, that's the one I said I want to try to go nationwide with. And man, when we said we were a franchise just a year ago, we've only been a franchise for just about a year, and we're already up to 40. LA was like boom. So I had a lot of customers that came up from LA to Tony's, and I didn't realize there was that many, but a lot of people, big fans down LA. So it was good.
Well, take us through a little bit of that process because this idea of going franchise model, which means you can basically blow it up and, go multi-unit all over the place without you having to be in a zillion places at once. But how do you vet people who come to you and say, I want to have a Tony's, and, how do they prove themselves worthy to you to be able to operate one, and how do you train them for that?
Yeah, there's layers. So there's different departments they go to. Let's say they see a Facebook ad. Okay, wow. Oh, Tony's has a franchise. They go ahead and enter their information. They want to know the vetting, like Charlie, a part of our team, Cooper, go to them, meet them, talk to them, have to see if they're accredited. It's very important to be able to open up a business. We're not looking for you're not able to, get a triple loan, and, you have to be accredited. That's good enough.
Kind of like being able to get a mortgage for a house.
I'm not looking for somebody that's going to lose everything or something like that. That's something that we don't look at. It's not that mom and pop, but you have to be accredited. Then it goes down the pipeline, and then they get to me, my partner, George, Bill, Trevor. Then there's the interview process. Once they get through the interview process, and that's a Zoom call. Then they would go to a meet and greet at one of our locations. So it's a process. We say we award franchises. It's very family. It's I'm with them when they do the training process, the opening process. But there's been clusters of groups that want to buy 10, that bought 10 to 5 to 5 to 5 to 3. So a lot of business people that have been in the wing stops, Subways, Nectar juice bars, Sourdough and Co. There's been a lot of them that have been in the business, want something new, no demographics, no areas, have 14 wing stops, and know certain cities, understand leases, have their own contractors and architects. Those are the ones that are exciting. And then there's the exciting one-off that you might do that is a mom and pop that always wanted to be in the business, that went to Pizza Expo and went to Pizza Rock or something, and said, hey, we have the capital. We love pizza. We want to do this, but we just need some help. And being in the school for 14 years and having people that come to me and say, I need help with my dough recipes. I don't like the style I'm doing. I don't like my layout. So what I've been teaching for 14 years at my school, I'm just reteaching that to my own franchisees. So it's been a work in progress. You say, wow, you just opened a franchise a year ago. But yeah, but we've been in the Raiders stadiums, 49er stadiums. We're in casinos. Out of those 40 pizzerias that I have open now, we've had the 900 square foot to the 9,000 square foot restaurants. We've been in different states, different cities. We tested in Boise, Idaho at one time at a ghost kitchen. So
wow.
I've done a lot of things over the years. And now we're implementing all of that into our systems for a franchise. That's much more user friendly. One dough recipe, one triple stack oven, Detroit Grandma Sicilian, 12-inch and free with vegan options, fresh pasta, and meatballs and garlic bread. So kind of what I did at Tony's or Pizza Rock with all these ovens, all these styles. How do you kind of make it into one dough recipe? How do you simplify it into one oven that has multiple decks? How do you simplify it? How do you make it franchisable, but at the same time still scratch, but not 17 doughs?
Right. Well, obviously, there's been a lot of learning over the years, and I'm sure that you've learned, had super successful sort of intuitions about things, and others where you went, wait a minute, we have to, make a left turn from that, the painful lessons, so to speak, which are sometimes even more valuable. But when you were describing this model for the slice house model, two questions come to mind immediately. One, is it going to focus on slices? Can people go in and you can go in and buy a slice? And if so, is this the model that would work like in airports and food service places like that?
So slices and whole pies, and the majority of the pizzas sold or the volume is are whole pies. To go delivery, dine in, and then you buy the slice. By the slice, you're able to get any option: Grandma Sicilian, Detroit, New York. So you have both. You have kind of and we have catering as well. So some limited seating, indoor and outdoor, at most locations with the prototypes going on. And selling both. So yeah, we've learned that if it's raining out, there's a big storm, people aren't walking around the neighborhood buying slices. So that's why the delivery aspect is pretty high percentage, and to go of that model could be up 65-ish%, give or take. So wow. Yeah.
So this concept of the term slice houses, it's kind of like retro. It's coming back. It seems like slice houses were, a big thing for years, and then they kind of dropped off the map. And now slice houses are popping up everywhere. What is it going to be that differentiates your slice houses? Is it just going to be called Slice House, or will it be called Tony?
It's like Slice House by Tony Gemignani.
So your name is going to be on it. Which means that your reputation is at stake with every place that opens up, right? Are you going to be having to travel to all these places and be on the road?
I do, and I have a team at Tony's. I always have a morning lineup. What you do is you talk to your staff when you have a morning lineup, and I tend to say, it may say Tony's on the sign, but you guys are Tony's. From the bartender to the bar back to the busboy to the dishwasher.
They're all Spartacus. I'm Spartacus.
Yeah, so. If you make them drink that Kool-Aid, understand that. Is it my job to make sure their pizza is more consistent as possible? Yeah, Anthony Andreas, and that's my corporate chef. Bill Ginsberg, who's another VP. So we spot check. The training is intense. It's a 6-week training. It's 3 on our property in Walnut Creek right now at our corporate office, a restaurant, and then 3 at theirs. And if they're not ready, they're not ready. So the training is intense. The infrastructure is there. If I say there's 40 in development, it's not going to be like 40 are opening today. It's 2 this year, 7 next year, 11 the following year. So it is a progress. But yeah, it's there's a lot of training involved, and my name is on it. And I would say 12 years ago at my keynote in Vegas, I said slice houses are going to be the next thing. And I had a bunch of people in the audience come to me even after and say, well, what are you talking about? And I said, the Sparrows of yesterday, the 80s concepts that you saw in malls are going to revamp, and chefs are going to make slice houses what it is. Half a dozen guys said, "You're nuts, man. That's shit. That's junk, man. I'll never eat." I said, "Trust me." And what do you see now?
Yeah, everywhere.
And what do you see? Like Grandma's elevated. You've seen every slice concept in New York is elevated. You look at DOP, Lindustries. You look at all these guys that are opened up since that talk. And I had guys come back to me and said, "You know what? I was at that keynote and I said that you're kind of full of shit. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about."
Right.
I just went to some of these places in Oregon. I went to all, and I had the best pizza I ever had in my life. I said, yeah, it's going to be elevated. Now you're seeing burrata on the top with hot honey. Every picture you see on social media, you didn't see that, 15 years ago. And the ingredients is elevated. The pizzas, the ovens. If you look into them now, and I'm not saying that every place has to be like that, because if you go into Suprema or some of my favorites are just old school Joe's, New York classic slices. Those haven't changed. Those have been great. But you look at everybody around them, and it has lions, tigers, squares. I mean, you just name them all. So, the slice model, was it COVID proof? Was that model? Did those models do extremely well if they had to go and deliver limited seating? They did, because and they got popular, and other styles, if they had them, got popular, and now you see a renaissance of slice houses. So I said that before it kind of started, and I believed in that concept, and now I'm really able to execute that concept.
It's interesting. Now, you gave another keynote this year at Pizza Expo, a great keynote. In fact, I'm carrying around my lucky $2 bill. You gave everybody who attended a $2 bill, which has special meaning to you. I think we can talk about that. But at this year's keynote, I'm trying to remember, did you make any predictions again about, like, okay, keep your eye out for this is going to be the next big thing? Or
well, I talked a lot about women in pizza and how, I try to support women in pizza before it became a movement. And you kind of saw that with the Audreys and the Lauras and people out there. I think I stressed on slice houses a little bit in that keynote, talked about, what's old is new again. Like I did actually in another keynote with grandmas and cast irons and things like that. So I did kind of hint on some things within that keynote that I talked about. But yeah, I just think that the way it's heading, customers are more open-minded. Pizza operators need to be more open-minded to what they're selling, to the ingredients that they're using, to the different, I would say, from vegan options, plant-forward options, multi-grains, things like that. So
it's interesting as you're describing that. I thought of a saying that's popular in the artisan bread community right now, which is that the future of bread is found in its past. Yeah. And I think you kind of, the same thing is happening in pizza. So if you want to see what's coming next, look back, see what was great at one time and needs to be brought back.
I think, COVID came out. Michelin star chefs came out of COVID and started to get into the pizza business. It already started, but it really catapulted. And, a pizzaiolo is different, just like a baker. A baker, it takes a long time to become a baker, to learn techniques, to understand breads. A pizzaiolo is very much the same. The pizzaiolo is looked at as a trade. Just because that guy's great saute for 30 years and a Michelin star chef doesn't mean he can make pizzas.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think when a Michelin star chef may open a pizzeria, automatically it has to be good. I don't think that. I want to try it and see it to believe it. Just because the guy knows ingredients doesn't mean he really understands dough and technique and oven skills. So I think a lot of guys have jumped into our industry, which is a good thing, because I think competition is a good thing, but it doesn't mean they make a damn good pizza. And I think that writers tend to be like, oh, they are bred from this, they have to be good. No, sorry, a pizza maker. I've had chefs next to me when I'm teaching them, and they have gorilla hands. They're like this, and I'm like, what are you doing? Hold on. And where do you work? Well, I work here. I'm like, wow, that's a beautiful restaurant. It's amazing, but you really suck at this.
Right.
And then I'll have somebody that comes in and maybe makes pizza at home on an uni, and just all of a sudden is just, working and has this magic. So pizza's difficult. It's not easy. People think it's easy. It's not. And just because pizza's sold everywhere and people are killing it doesn't mean that you're going to just jump in and kill it. So, I tend to look at that. It's a skill.
It's a craft, as you talk about right on your box. That to be good at this, you have to respect the craft.
Respect the craft.
Speaking of okay, what's coming next, and kind of a sense of look to the past to see what's the future. You're getting ready to put on a pizza festival in San Francisco. You're producing a festival, and festivals themselves, pizza festivals are another thing that's the next big thing. They're popping up all over the country because there's enough critical mass now to support festivals all over the country, and every region is proud of what they've got going locally. But you've added a wrinkle to yours. So we've got, I think it's on Saturday, August 19th, coming up very soon, is the San Francisco Pizza, Bagel, and Beer Festival. Well, we know beer's been around, craft beer's been happening for a while, but bagels, that's the key word that jumped out at me, is it seems like they're exploding, and you're a player in that realm now as well.
Yeah, I've been to most of the festivals for years. New York, Chicago, LA. I helped the Las Vegas, even Naples. I've been to all of them, cooked in all of them, and pre-COVID, I said I'm going to do a pizza festival, and then COVID hit, and then that was put on the back burner. And in the middle of COVID, I opened up a bagel shop within a bakery that I have, and once COVID kind of was over with, or starting to decline, I said, I'm going to look into doing that festival again. So what I took at all the festivals that I thought was missing was the bagel component and really the craft beer component that I didn't see. You saw a beer or two here, but there's a big San Francisco Bay Area craft scene. It always has been for many years. Pizza and beer really kind of go together, at least to the public. But I think adding that bagel element around that festival, I thought it was important. I thought having a little Italy was important.
Is that where it's going to be held?
Yeah, it's right on the streets. The other thing I thought that was important, sometimes you'll see a $10,000 check here, or maybe a 20 here. We have about $100,000 going to 5 charities. So it's a big fundraising element to this. But it was funny, that I named it that. Now the writers kind of came, and the writers are like, so what's up with the bagel component in this? Right. Well, you may not know, but if you're in the industry and a lot of pizza makers make bagels, and their writers will say they do. Yeah. I said, yeah. I mean, there's a renaissance of bagel shops, and my bakery and bagel shop was supposed to open like 2 years prior to when it did, and I was in the middle of it, and all of a sudden COVID hit.
Yeah.
I got out of it right before COVID. And then I said, thank God I got out of it before COVID, because this was going to be a multi-million-dollar project, a big bakery, a big bagel shop. And I got out of it. COVID hit. And I said, thank God I wasn't in the middle of that build out and alone and everything. And then in the middle of COVID, I did open up a bakery and bagel shop, but it was smaller and much more affordable. So I was trying to explain to writers, because every writer kind of says, I get the pizza and beer side of it. Well, what's the bagel? Almost every writer has said that. I said, well, there's a bagel renaissance, as you know, you've written about. I think it's great to add them. It was going to be called the Festival of Grains, actually.
Interesting.
But I said Festival of Grains doesn't sound as sexy as pizza, bagels, and beer.
Yeah.
I mean, every writer now says it's the carb festival. You're going to carb it up. Yeah. So it's a little annoying on some of the writers, what they say. I mean, if you just put pizza, bagel, and beer fest, every guy would go, but
in Wisconsin, they call it the fermentation festival, but
do they really?
Yeah, they have one called the firm festival, fermentation festival.
That's cool.
But it's not focused on. It can include all of these things, but it's about fermentation is the start, and that's always a play in all these things. But yeah, I think first of all, you can't go wrong by having pizza in there. You're automatically going to draw a crowd. But I think to celebrate the fact that bagels are again back in a big way, and the Bay Area has. I'm guessing you have. How many bagel operators do you think will be participating in the festival?
We have 7 right now. We have Daily Driver, Bagel, which is mine. We have Wojcik, which is probably considered the #1 bagel in the Bay Area. They've been written a lot. Laundromat.
Wojcik's in the East Bay, right?
Laundromat. There's Bagel Masher. There's Kaz. So yeah, there's
what was the bagel shop?
7
years ago when I lived in San Francisco in the 70s. There was not many bagel shops, but there was one.
Bagels, half a dozen, maybe, not even.
Yeah. And Geary Boulevard was the big bagel shop that I used to go to, but I can't even remember the name of it anymore. Are they still even around?
It might be not House of Bagels, is it?
House of Bagels.
House of Bagels, yeah. House of Bagels. I actually tried. Funny is, a lot of people don't have the help right now. Everyone's talking about labor, and a lot of people don't have help. We had a few pizzerias pull out that didn't have the help. But man, we have 30 pizzerias. So I mean, on the street, I mean, I'll name them: De La Rosa, Doppio Zero, Giorgio's, Damn Fine, Monte Sleight of Hand, Tony's and Capos, of course, my places, Empire, Del Popolo, Pizza Hacker, A16, Much Ado. You're going to see Pizzeria de Laura Meyer, Pizzeria, State of Mind, Slice of Homage, Mozzarella, Wiki Pizza. I got Alistair coming in from Hawaii, actually. David Jacobson, Longbridge, Il Casaro, Graffiti, and then you have like Adam Sachs, who's a bread guy that's going to be making pizzas. Squared Up is coming from Arizona. Patrick McCauley makes one of the best Sicilians in Arizona. So it's a pretty cool lineup. Just added last week, Gold Mirror. 2 new ones are going to be added, most likely. Square Pie Guys will probably be added and doing a 1-hour demo of making pizzas on a Mara Forni oven. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool on the street.
So there's going to not only be pizza tasting, there'll be presentations, demonstrations, and
it'll be all pizza making. No demos. The Italian Club's open. There's a VIP section, which those tickets are sold out. So it's really all about pizza. There's no competition. It's about camaraderie. That's one thing. Everyone thinks there's going to be a competition. There's not. Beer, bagels, and pizza. There'll be merchandise. There'll be sausage and peppers and a few other things in there. But there won't be any tutorials. I know, Chicago, they do some great tutorials there. But we'll be selling books. I'll be selling your book there. Actually, I got your books ready to sell.
I wish I could be there.
And but yeah, it's more about that, and we'll see how this one does. We're 72% of all ticket sales are sold already. We're about 5 weeks away. We'll hit TV in a couple weeks, which we're going to have a big increase. Right now, it's about 1,500 tickets sold we're going to sell. And then I would say it's going to be probably up to 1,700. It'll be close to a 2,000 person festival with the writers and celebrities and some of the other people that are coming actually.
Well, this interview that we're having today, our conversation, will air about 2 weeks before the festival. So if people are listening and want to attend, what's the best way for them to get a ticket?
Go to eventbrite.com and just go ahead and search for San Francisco Pizza Bagel Fest. It'll pop right up.
So, okay. So by the tickets should be fewer available by then, but
it should be fewer. General admission is about $70. It includes 4 beers. We work with a company called Value Culture, Adam Swig, and we said, what can we do? And he even said, this is what you can do, to make our festival different. At San Francisco, he's okay, well, you're going to have a beer element. There's going to be thousands of cups that people are going to throw away. Why don't you make a festival cup that's reusable? That's stainless, with logos around it. That's 16 ounces. With 1,500 of those reusable cups. Is it a zero waste festival? It's not, but is everything recyclable? It is. We looked at no plastic. We looked at a lot of things. No water bottles are being sold at that festival. You can get water if you bring your reusable container from your home. For your beer, you get one free if you have one of those tickets. So we look at this festival as how do we change it from a lot of other festivals? We're always thinking forward. San Francisco is thinking forward. So we hooked up with value culture to look at this and say, these are the things that you can change that makes it a much more greener type, festival. So we've been looking at that. Electric ovens, not all wood fired. We have 3 wood fired ovens, but the main ovens are all Marifornia electric ovens. We try to look at that as not having too much wood burning at a festival.
That must be a big logistical challenge. How do you get those ovens powered up? They're going to be right out there on the street, or how will that be?
On the street, 40 feet of generator lines coming in, a 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. Start to get everything off with a forklift. So there's a process of it. It's a 1-day festival. It's not 2. But that would say the logistics, which I have a call soon about that. Getting the ovens, the thing that I worry about most is just getting the ovens there and getting them working. I think that's any pizza makers, but we wouldn't have done this without DoorDash and Buy Right. They're our main sponsors, and we have, Hormel and Grande, Stanislaus, all the above. They're a big part of this. The women in pizza section, Orlando Foods, Caputo, they really came in. And we have an uni element too. There's an uni section where there's 8 pizza makers cooking on 10 unis. So it's really going to be really cool.
It's going to be cool. And when you said Buy Right's one of your sponsors, I immediately thought, is there going to be ice cream there?
Yeah, it's a Buy Right distribution. There's 2. There's Buy Right ice cream and Buy Right distributors.
A different Buy Right. Yeah, okay, because I think in San Francisco, when you were naming a lot of the pizzerias, none of those pizzerias existed when I lived in San Francisco. All the old time pizzerias, I don't know if they're even still there. The ones that are probably not even, playing.
I think Giorgio's, you may remember Giorgio's. They've been around for like 30, 40 years.
What's
they're
the one?
probably the oldest restaurant, I think, when I look at that. But yeah, it's try to get a diverse, make the festival diverse. You have Pizza, Roman, Neapolitan, New York, Detroit, Tavern. So I try to make it as diverse because I curated it. But you wish you could have everybody. But
yeah, no, I was going to say, if somebody has a ticket to the event, how many pizzas can they take? Is it unlimited pizzas, or do
unlimited? Yeah,
wow, so they can go around and eat until they drop.
Yeah, the festival, the VIP ticket, you get it an hour early. That's the one that sold out quick, and it was the most expensive ticket. I was like, wow, it sold out quick.
Need more of those, yeah.
It's 11 to 12, and then 12 to 4 is the festival. So it's unlimited, and then you get 4 beers within that 4-hour time frame. So 1 beer an hour, basically. We suggest and hope that people try everybody, not just keep going back and forth. No one can bring boxes in. No, we're not going to give them pizza boxes so they can load up on slices. So we hope they're, when you have that many slices of pizza and bagels, you're going to probably be pretty filled up.
Absolutely. And then, because then you got the bagels in addition to the pizza. And I'm guessing some of the bagel shops will have schmears and some other things.
Yeah, they have. There's one that ordered 90 pounds of cream cheese from one of us. But when you look at up to 2,000 slices and it's 1 ounce portions, 90 pounds is barely enough, actually. Really, it should be 100 pounds, 110 pounds. But yeah, some are going to do mini bagels. Others, we said festival bites. So it could be cut in half. It could be cut in quarters. And it could come with a schmear. So festival size slices, which is important, is for the pizzerias so they don't get beat up too much.
Yeah. So people have to pace themselves. I mean, how many slices can one person eat even in 4 hours? You've got to take it slow and easy. So if you've got a ticket and you're going, pace yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And be kind and not overwhelm the pizza makers, because they're going to be going a little crazy. But Lettieri and Ital Foods came in. They're 2 distributors in San Francisco that have come in. The Italian Athletic Club is pretty awesome. They've been a big part. Nick at that club has been a major part of helping me get this festival going. Like I said, Buy Right and DoorDash were the big sponsors that I wouldn't be having this festival. It wasn't for those 2. And then everybody giving ingredients to all the pizza makers.
Wow.
I'm trying to make it as going to have a lot of labor involved for a pizzeria, but food cost wise, it should be minimal. Grande came in, like I said, Stanislaus, Corto, all those guys. Caputo, Central Milling has been a big sponsor. And then Hormel, like when you look at Rosa Grande, Columbus, You look at their bacon, Old Smokehouse. They've been really awesome too. So
it's amazing.
Anything we can give to the pizza makers that they can use, it's been really good.
Well, there's such a great community in the pizza world. I mean, and everybody is, despite everyone's in their own business and they compete with each other for the business, but a tremendous amount of sharing and generosity in this community.
Yeah, people don't realize there's nothing else like the pizza community. Like when you get into it, I think when I saw you in Milwaukee the first time years ago, I met you, I talked to you, I said, man, I love your book, American Pie. We were in Milwaukee. I think you were at a pizza show there, a food show we were at. I said, you got to really kind of see what it's really like. You got to go to Expo. You have to go to, we saw each other in New York a few months later, PMQ. Yeah. I said, you should go to that show. That was a crazy show, but
that was a great show.
It's when you learn that, when you meet everyone and you see that, I mean, like, this, and Modernists saw that too. Stephanie and everyone from Modernist Cuisine,
yeah,
came in, and there's no other industry like it. And then, it's just a professional industry.
Yeah, and it's been fun to be, to be an observer over the last 15, 20 years, as it has grown. And I think that the word that just kept coming to me is it's like a tribe. The people that are part of this community are really, they feel like this is my tribe.
Yeah.
And when they see each other at these expos and these festivals, it's like high school reunion. It's like, wow, I haven't seen you, let's catch up. And
yeah,
it is pretty special. Before we run out of time, I do want to ask you, I want to go back to the bagel thing for 1 second, because again, we talked about how this is the next coming thing.
I brought some bagels with me, by the way.
Would you mind, you told a story in your keynote at Expo, and I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing it again, but how you came up with the name of your bagel shop, because it's a good story.
I'll summarize it. People that know Daigle, they're like, what? And people that don't know it, they're, oh, that's interesting name or word. So I'm building my bakery and bagel shop. It's been a long road because I remember I said I had one going, I got out of it, and then COVID hit. I said, thank God I got out of it. In the middle of COVID, I started building. Then Tony's was crazy. Tony's, Capo's, Slice House, all in one. Very dark. Nobody was open. We were packed because there was nowhere to eat in San Francisco. And you don't cook in your home that often in San Francisco. Just people don't have the homes for it, really. So the city would come and say, hey, you had a lot of people here last night. We're just checking on you. Or, yeah, every day somebody would come from the city. I say, is somebody calling on me? Like, why are you guys here? I mean, like,
yeah, right.
COVID. It's like, yeah, there's people here. Nobody's open. Where do you think they're going to eat? So same people would come, same people. I'm like, who is it? Somebody's so there's a guy that's calling. I can't say his name.
Yeah.
Okay. So one day in the street, I'm there and run into somebody, a neighbor, and we get into it about something. And I said, are you the guy calling on me? And his friend that was there said, no, I'm calling on. I said, okay.
You mean there's somebody who's been calling
the city? Yeah, this guy has a lot of lines. People are eating on the street, and
somebody narking on you.
And you're supposed to go home to eat. The guy's sitting on the curb with his kid in the middle of COVID. He's eating a slice, and there's a stay at home. I can't. I'm not going to kick him out on the sidewalk or tell these people to leave. I'm trying to make it like anyone.
Yeah.
You know how many people have been at your restaurant? You know how many people are here? I'm like, yeah, I know how many people are here. I'm here every effing day trying to make it, and we're here every day. And I got Uber drivers all over the place and DoorDash drivers, and it's a conjuring because there's nowhere to eat. Well, you know what? So we got into it. So a few days, a week later or so, guy comes walking. It's the guy. Oh, shit. Guy says, who told you that I called the city on you? I said, you said it in the middle of our fight over there. We're talking like, you effing Daigles are all like, you're no good for nothing. You Daigle, you come here, you think, and you effing whopped, you come here, you're a tough guy. Why don't you come around the back and see how tough guy, you greasy effing Daigle, you not good for nothing. So I'm looking at this 80-year-old man, just to let you know, like, this guy's not young. And I'm like ready to punch the guy's lights out. I mean, I'm so effing mad. And I don't. One of my employees were there. It was 11 o'clock in the morning. I have cameras. I mean, like, that's all I need is Tony punching this old man on the street and nobody knows why. I went back, and Natale Cardamone, guy from Calabria, my GM said, "What did that guy say?" I said, "We're effing Dagos. We're no good for nothing." That's what he said. He said that. I just leave it alone. I get mad. I call my attorney, Adam Sachs, bread guy who's going to be at the festival.
Yeah.
I said, "You know what? This guy said this. He's called. That's the guy calling on me. He's the guy trying to shut me down." Then I found out. He's like, "You can't really do anything. File a police report." And I filed a police report. All right. I think it's bullshit. Don't beat the guy up. Don't do it. I know, man. I know. Go file a police report. I'm pissed. And I get mad. I get pissed. And you know that already. We'll get into that conversation.
In this business, people have tempers.
Yeah. So I go back and I said, "You know what? I'm going to call it Dago Bagel." I call it Adam, and he's like, my attorney, he's like, "No, I don't think so." And then I said, "Why?" He's all, "I don't know. That's going to create something." I said, "You know what? Every time that guy sees that sign, he's going to know that I opened it up. I'm the Dago that he hates, this guy that hates Italians." And, if you look at the definition of Dago, somebody that basically Portuguese, Italian, Spanish. It's like even in there. I'm Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish, just to let you know. So I said, "What? I can't be a Dago that makes a bagel?" He's like, "Yeah, NWA can have a band in the 80s and be all over. And if you look at what NWA means, you'll know what it means." Uh-huh. I said, "I can't just now make a bagel." Fuck that. I said, "I'm sorry, but I said, I'm going to call it that. It's going to be Toscano Brothers Bakery, Dago Bagel, and it's going to have a picture of me, and it's a caricature of me, and I'll have my arms crossed, and it's kind of an F you and kill them with kindness, and that's what it is."
This is so. Thank you to your neighbor for inspiring you.
Exactly. So when you're Italian, and you can say, "Hey, you eat like a Dago, man," I can say that to my fellow Italian. Yeah. If you say "you no good for nothing" and tap me on the chest and "you effing Dago," a little bit different. So 98% of the people said, "Right on. Take the word back. That's great, man." My grandpa was called a Dago. My grandpa was called a Dago. Anybody 40 and under have no clue what it is. Riders be all, "Oh, Dago Bagel. That's interesting." I'm not Dago. Go look it up and you'll see what it means. "Oh, wow. You're going to call it that?" Yeah, I'm going to call it that. "Why?" "Okay, let me tell you the story." Most of them get in, and then you'll get the people that come and say, "I can't believe you call it that. That's an offensive word. That's not right." Now will probably be a 70-year-old lady or 80-year-old man or somebody. And I have to kind of tell them the story. Once I tell them the story, they say, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And then I'll get a few to say, I'm against that. I'm going to tell this association and federation, the Italian, go ahead and tell them it, So it creates awareness. It recirculates the word. There's still people out there that are very, how can you say, offensive towards Italians. I mean, it's not just about other races or nationalities. There's still racist against Italians out there. There's still some people out there. And he's an older guy. He was angry. He was mad. I was busy. I had a line down the street. People were eating. And he had to walk through that sidewalk at night and was angry. And he was also angry that I was a successful Dago. I know it. I saw him. He hated me. Hey, we're in Little Italy, by the way. We're in Little Italy. It's not like I'm one guy in the middle of a neighborhood that's doing well. That's no Italians are around. There's Italians everywhere, and they always have. But this guy just was deep-rooted racism that hated me for being Italian. I seen this guy for years, by the way, on the street. Didn't have many conversations with him, but this guy hated my guts.
Have you seen him since?
I have never seen him since. I've never seen him since, which is crazy. I don't know if he's alive or what, but
that's always a possibility. But
see the neighbor friend that was there at the first incident we had, but not when him and I had that one incident. So yeah, it was an interesting time, and the bagel shop exploded. It was so funny. Like writers would come to me and say, "So, I didn't get a story in one of the local press because I didn't have some sad story to say that my windows were broken into, that people are mad at me. Like, they wanted to hear that. It's like, what sucks is the news wants to hear bad. They don't want to hear good.
Yeah.
They want to hear like that somebody's crapping on the streets and breaking windows and vandalizing and punched an old lady. It was so funny. I did an 1.5-hour interview, sent them photos, didn't run the story because I wasn't seeing a psychiatrist or psychologist to figure out why I'm hurt and I have resentment and things aren't going well. That's what they wanted me to say. I said, things are great. We have a line down the street. We're selling bagels and everybody loves it. But they hated that.
They have their story that they want to get out and hopefully. Hey, okay. Well, can you show us your bagels for those who are watching on the video podcast?
Yeah. So if you see, sesame seed, like
sesame seed Dago bagel.
Yeah, so Adam Sachs, bread guy, during COVID, we talked about bagels. I want to help you with the recipe. He would make recipes and go around and we wanted a low hydrated, high protein, high gluten flour mixed in a planetary mixer to create some friction, to make it tight, to make the dough the opposite of what you kind of want to make dough be. Not high hydrated, not a forceful mixer. We wanted to be tight, chewy, hand rolled, twisted,
kind of old school,
boiled in liquid malt. We wanted our bagels to be smaller, not like when you go to a grocery store and they're all full of yeast and they're like sweet, like a donut. I mean, for me, I wanted an old school classic New York bagel. That's what I wanted. I felt like a lot of East Coasters miss those kind of bagels. Pumpernickel we do on Saturdays. It's a nice pumpernickel that we make here.
It's interesting too. You only do it once a week, huh?
Yeah, pumpernickel once a week. And then you have like the old school, like kind of Tony, the square Detroit style.
Style bagel. That's cool.
Yeah, you probably have never seen before in your life.
No. It looks like a little mini Detroit pizza.
Yeah, and a cool little pan that it fits into, and you go ahead and add that brick cheese and cheddar. This is actually our most hottest bagel there. People love that bagel because they love Detroit pizza, so they got to have that bagel.
But it's also very signature. It's a signature item that no one else has.
Yeah, nobody else has. I saw somebody on Instagram do it. Some people said, hey, this guy had it on Instagram. It happens all the time. People make stuff all the time. It's all right.
Well, bagels are getting so big nationally that we're planning on Pizza Quest here to dedicate a few episodes in the new season. Will be when we kind of regroup and start recording for the new season. We're going to do like a 3-episode arc on the whole bagel renaissance, and we want to get you back for that and get some other players in the bagel world. We see a number of mini trends within the bagel trend, like sourdough bagels versus, just the New York style. And then, we're going to just address all those myths. And one of them, of course, is, is it really possible to make a great bagel outside of New York City? If you're from outside of New York City, you say yes. If you're from New York City, you say no.
Exactly. Yeah. Now we get a lot of East Coasters, New Yorkers that come in and love it. And like I said, it's not a Montreal bagel. It's not giant and puffy. It's not full of yeast. We use sourdough in ours. And it's old school. Burlap boards, upside down, flip them over. We're not cooking in sheet pans or things like that. We're small batch. We're not big batch. We're not making thousands a day. We make 300 to 400 a day, give or take. And it's really for the locals. In North Beach, the bakeries are gone. There's no bakeries. Back in the day, there's 5 or 6 bakeries. There's no bagel shops in North Beach. It doesn't exist. And, and we just do it a classic old school way. Like I said, we still boil them in liquid malt.
Yeah.
It's just important to do it by hand. I think there's a lot of things. You can do it by machine and do a lot. But for what we're doing, I'm not mass producing. I mean, everybody wants me to sell them on Goldbelly and send them next day air. It's just really for the locals and some of the tourists that come in, So
it's really, that's the only place to get it. And the location is right near Tony's Pizza.
Walking away from North Beach. I have 5 locations of pizzerias and bakeries and stuff like that in North Beach. It's up from Capo's, actually, on Vallejo Street. next to the police station. So it's not really it's off the beaten path, but it's the only place you can really get a sourdough baguette from, really, unless you went down to Pier 39. But other than that, there's no local bakeries that do this. That was something that was missing in North Beach. Like, what do? I look at making fresh pasta. Giovanni's, we make fresh pasta in the window. Those places are gone. I mean, like, the bakeries are gone. And
is the focaccia place still there?
Focaccia's still there, yeah. So you can still get great focaccia from Liguria.
Yeah.
Get a loaf of sourdough bread in North Beach. Yeah. A neighbor can't walk down the street and get it. You actually have to go to a grocery store to get it. But there's nothing like boutique, scratch, independent operators. So yeah.
Well, it's amazing how you've expanded the empire, the brand, built starting with Tony's and then opening up so many other concepts and basically fulfilling your vision. And I think you made that transition from being sort of the competitive young guy on, making your mark, improving your worth. And then, and now you're at the point where you're mentoring other people and essentially overseeing. Are you still doing it? Are you ever in Tony's making pizzas and working the line, or
I was there on Saturday working the line. Yeah, I'm always in Tony's. That's always my hub. I'm always in North Beach, but will you see me go to Vegas for an opening or working or LA? Yeah. So I'm all over the place, but I was on the wood-fired line for several hours every day. Not every day, but most of the days last week, actually. So yeah, I still make pizzas every day. Yeah.
Well, for folks who have come to Pizza Expo, you've met Tony, you've seen Tony. He does workshops there all the time. So if you haven't been to Expo, or you're not coming to the Atlantic City one in
I'll be in AC this year, but I will be at Expo next year for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one place to see him in action, but also I guess if you show up on the right night, you'll see him in the oven at Tony's Pizza Napolitana. And then you mentioned Toscana. Is that your bakery? Is that the name of your bakery?
Toscano Brothers and then Bagel. They're both in the same bakery, and I'm there a lot in the mornings too, early mornings, just to kind of see how things are going. Yeah.
So you're doing breads and bagels, pizzas, and of course the Slice House coming to a neighborhood near you probably over the next few years. So congratulations on all of your success, Tony, and how hard you work, how dedicated you are. And I think let's close this with one thing. If you could just tell everybody what you mean when you say you have printed on the box of your pizzas, respect the craft. Let's leave them with what you mean by that and how you came up with that idea.
I guess you say I was about 15 years in the pizza business with my brother. I went to Naples for the first time. And here I was with my wife on my honeymoon. It was the second time I went to Italy. It was the year 2000, June. And on our way to Sorrento, I said, we have to go have Neapolitan pizza. So we got off the train, sat in Trianon, which is across from Don Michele. And here's this guy kind of smoking a cigarette at this pizzaiolo. And we took our order. She told him, made her pizza, boom, 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 slap on the marble, slid it, landed it in that oven. Came out in like 60 seconds. I mean, came out fast. And my wife's sitting just like that. I see you right here. We're sitting across from each other. I'm looking at this guy, flicks the cigarette over the pizza in the oven, and I'm like, that's funny just seeing that. I can never do that, so.
Right.
Pizza lands in front of us. I look at it. I'm like inspecting the bottom here. My wife just eats it, starts eating it. And I'm saying to myself, I don't know how to do that. Saying to myself, and I'm watching this guy, and my wife's like, are you going to eat it? I said, yeah, but did you see him slap that on the table? Did you see him? He dragged it on that peel. And then, did you see how fast it cooked? And she's like, okay. I said to myself, I don't know how to make this. It was like a bit of an epiphany.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here I was at the time, this 4-time world champion, and I was this pizza maker. I traveled around the U.S. and I guess when you're a young guy, before social media, before you could Google it and all that. I mean, this is years ago, and I had to reteach myself everything I learned. Not saying what I learned was wrong, but for me, I felt like I should have learned that first. I didn't respect pizza in its entirety, like everything, and I went home after that honeymoon, and you know, when you're on your honeymoon, you should be making out with your wife. You're in Naples, you're in Italy, you're in love, and I'm just so baffled that it was charred and delicious and soft and chewy and wet, something that I never had before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I came back and I said, you know, when I open up my place, respect the craft is going to be on my boxes. I said, I said, so at the time, I had a beehive oven before the unis and everything came out. I didn't have a big wood fired oven. I was in a condo in Castro Valley, and I saw this little wood fired oven, and this lady said, "Hey, would you want one?" And I said, I would actually. So I would get Caputo, San Felice. Somebody sent me that. I would get what I could, whatever San Marzano I could get back then. Try to find fine sea salt, which was really hard to find. You couldn't go to Safeway and find it. I had to go online and go to websites and try to find things. And back then there wasn't Amazon. So I would get stuff sent to my house. I tried to go to a distributor, which distributors, there was no really Neapolitan places that really could sell you. So it was really hard to get. Right. Get what I could, try to get this oven up as hot as I could, get wood boxes, try to make dough in wood boxes, plastic, all this stuff. And I would practice this, what I remembered from this guy, because there was no videos really to see it like now. And right. I practiced and kind of did my own thing. And I would go to a delivery and bring in a truck, my dad's white Chevy truck. I would put 2 beehives onto it, pick it off, put it on the rack. It was heavy, awkward. And I would cook Neapolitan pizzas and this little beehive before a pop-up was considered a pop-up or whatever the hell you'd call it. And I would try and do all this. So, it was a learning curve for me. I had to relearn everything. There weren't books on it, and there weren't a lot of things on it back then. And respect the craft. I think it's in anything that you do in life, you should try to be the best at it and learn and go back and learn techniques and understand that it was here before you were here, and it's going to be here after we're here. And there's just you can make your life or your business so much bigger and be more proud of it. And later in life, I learned that a pizzaiolo was respected. A pizza maker in the U.S. I worked there so-and-so. Oh, you're a pizza maker? Yeah. Now chefs respect pizza makers. Like if you really understand what a pizzaiolo does. So being around Naples and I remember when I won that cup, it's funny. Let's just say this was the cup. When I won in Naples, I didn't want to check in that, this cup into my luggage. I brought it with me. And when I brought it with me at the airport, the security would look at it and say, "Oh, Campionato Mondiale della Pizza. Oh, wow. Oh, complimenti." And they would give it back to me, right. Shake my hand. They'd shake it. If you had a award in the, even back in the day in San Francisco and I brought it in, they'd look at it and be like, "Pizza? They have competition for pizza? Really?" Right. Would you go against Domino's or what is it? It's just so unrespected back then. Yeah. But when you won and you're excited, you're in that championship and people see it. And the hotel guy, you walk in and the guy's, "Oh, you won in pizza? American won in pizza? Oh my God." Shake your hand. Because they look at the pizza maker much differently in Italy. And once you felt that and understood it, that was all part of all of the above is about respect the craft. And we can be better at what we do. We can learn more on what we do. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that that aha moment for you, has driven you these next 25 years. You already had a career but isn't it kind of cool and exciting when you realize there's even more than I thought that was out there, and I want to master that too. Yeah, and I thought I knew it all as a young guy. Sometimes when you're a young chef or a young pizza maker, you want to do, what's never been done. Sometimes guys that make sourdough want to be sour. You taste that sourdough, you taste how sour it is. I said, yeah, but pizza is always about balance. And I always say, I had a writer come to me once in Vegas and say, you know what? You're from San Francisco, and I would have thought your pizza would have been much more sour than what it was.
Uh-huh.
And I said, yeah. So what'd you think of the pizza? Oh my God, man. It was one of the best pizzas I ever had in my life.
Right.
I said, do I want you to remember me for my pizza, or do I want you to remember me for my starter? He said, well, I mean, pizza, I'm all pizza. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you came in. Thanks a lot. I shook his hand. Sometimes people don't understand that pizza is always about balance, and it's about the quality of the ingredients, and each taste should take you through a journey. I'm not just trying to taste all sour, and man, I never tasted tomatoes, or is it tomato sour because the sourness, the tang, I don't taste the sweetness of the tomatoes. I definitely didn't taste the cheese.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you get with young, or what do you think? Have you ever done this and this and this? And sometimes I'll say, I kind of done most of it, over the years, from the sashimi pizza to whatever, the squid ink pizza. I've kind of done it. But for me, what's sexy or something that's good is recreating something like that upside down pizza that started, 30, 40 years ago in America, that is different and unique, or the margarita pizza, or the marinara pizza that it is really hard to make, but very simple, but still very difficult. Things like that
Right.
Intrigue me more. So I think you're always trying to do out of the box what's never been done. Almost everything's been done. And sometimes people may make a Detroit that is Roman centric, that is so like Roman. And I say, well, it's kind of Roman. Yeah, but I mean, it's not, I don't know. It's great. I'm not saying that your pizza's not great, but there's tradition that's kind of there that you still want to see. Like, if I had a Roman style Old Forge, it's not Old Forge. Old Forge is dense. Bready is the term that we hate to say in the bread world, and it's extra cheese, bready, a little dense, heavy, all the ones that you don't, but that's Old Forge. I'm sorry. I like it. I'm not looking for an Old Forge that's Romaned out. It's cool. It's great. It's not bad, but it's not very traditional. So there's a traditional side of me that I love. I like to go out of the box a little, but not so far out of the box that it just goes into a new style that really kind of has its own. So I don't know.
So that you still feel connected to that lineage of tradition that expresses myself in that.
And I do steps that are different. I do starters in my Neapolitan. I do different things that you won't see. And if I do a Canotto style, I may change it up and call it Canotto Americano or something like that, which, but at the same time, mine are always elevated. It doesn't go too far out of the box, but it'll be the best Detroit you ever had. And you can't label it Roman, so.
Well, in the 25 years that I've known you, at least 25 years that I've known you, you've always had a fire in your belly that is distinctively you and drives you. And we've always seen that, and it constantly re-expresses itself. And I'm glad to see 25 years later that fire is still raging. You're still scorching the earth with fire and doing something new. And again, expanding the potential of what that box actually is. Congratulations on the slice houses, the next step maybe in your journey, and who knows what's going to come after that. More bagel shops, maybe, who knows. But I know that for as long as that fire is burning, we're always going to be seeing creativity and you stretching yourself to, as you said earlier, do the best possible version of whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Thanks for being with us on Pizza Quest, and thank all of you for joining us today, and come back next week for a new episode of Pizza Quest. Thanks, Tony.
Take care. Thank you.
Pizza Quest is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.